You are listening to Vitality with Marilyne, a podcast about health, wellness, and all things vitality. Having set herself free from life routines, embraced a healthy lifestyle, and lost an incredible 90 pounds in under a year, Marilyne is now supporting others looking to live their best life. Here to tell her transformative story and engage in enlightening and inspirational conversations, here she is, Marilyne.
Hello everyone. Today I have a special guest and I'm very excited to introduce you to Laurie. She is the owner of New Path Fitness and Wellness and holds a Bachelor in Science in Physiotherapy and has over 21 years of clinical experience as a physiotherapist and also a certified personal trainer, a nutrition and wellness coach, certified holistic nutritionist, so on, certified yoga and exercise specialist instructor. That's why I have to read. There's just, and I feel like I'm missing things. So she's well-rounded and definitely an expert. So when I keep saying that what I preach is to lean on experts, well, Laurie is definitely the definition of that and has been a great help for me throughout the years. So I've actually met Laurie quite a few years ago, about in 2014, my math is correct, and we've worked together on and off, either through personal training or nutrition consulting. And Laurie has kind of developed her company and her social media presence, especially in the last few years, I guess. So she's got so much stuff out there. Definitely encourage you to look her up on Facebook. There's this like really wonderful page about food and fitness for busy ladies. So that's what it's called. So if you want, free tips, there's just so much wealth of information there. So definitely encourage you to join. And there's some challenges and some, a wealth of information. So just want to pitch that at the very beginning. There's exercises, also inspirational quotes every now and then. And I always look forward to seeing them. So we'll get right into it. Also wanted to mention that Laurie has spent a lot of time in the recent years really developing a comprehensive weight loss and coaching program, which she calls the Flexible Fitness System for Busy Ladies, and offers also nutrition consulting, like I mentioned earlier. So the program itself, you can see the research and so on. So that's going to be very handy for a conversation today on this topic. So welcome, Laurie, and thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So just to get us started, so you've done all these things. You've done physiotherapy and all of the nutrition and so on. You seem to have gravitated a lot with helping people, especially women, I believe, with weight loss. So what got you to specialize in that area specifically?
Well, I've always been in the health and wellness industry, like the 24 years as a physio, helping people of all ages, all ranges, from busy execs to the weekend warriors to postpartum moms to everybody. Just get back to doing what they love. Feel free from pain and just be healthy. But in the physio industry, you tend to just be working on an elbow or a knee or a back. And after a while, I was just like, there's got to be more. And there was an underlying sort of theme with all of these injuries. Other than the sports athletes, high level, that I've worked with, the main general public, it was too much weight, sedentary lifestyle, and just, sitting all week. And then all of a sudden, you go and you play that sport that you absolutely love, thinking you're 20 again. Well, your body's not going to like that. So these injuries will keep coming up for these people, but there was that underlying of weight, sedentary, just not taking care of their bodies. At that time when I really started to gravitate towards that is the same time I started my husband and I wanted to have a family. So I had babies and I struggled with that weight gain. I'd always been active. I'd done triathlons. I've done half Ironmans. I've swam competitively, so I was always athletic. Trying to get the weight off after having babies, that was a struggle. And especially, I wasn't a young mom. Like, I had my first when I was 35, 36. So, you know, the hormones come into play and all that kind of stuff. So I went to my doctor, and I love my physician, and there are fantastic physicians out there, but they are not totally knowledgeable in terms of weight loss and nutrition. They know a lot of stuff, but they can't know everything. And so the whole exercise more, eat less is what you're being told. I actually had to push to get my hormone levels checked and realize that everything was out of whack from having the babies, from the stress, all that kind of stuff. So it really triggered this whole idea of you need to treat the whole body. You need to look at the person as a whole to really understand what's going on. And so in my own struggle of trying to lose the weight, I researched. I'm a science geek. I'm a little nerdy. So I was researching everything. And trust me, the research out there, most of it's based on men and 20-year-old men. Don't tell me that their hormonal makeup and everything like that is exactly the same as a 30 to 40-year-old busy mom. Mm-hmm. It's not. So don't try and train me like a 20-year-old man. Don't try and tell me how to eat like a 20-year-old man. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work for me. So I started to really try things out on myself. And that is what became my flexible fitness system. I just experimented on myself and then took on clients and then saw the results happening over and over again with the way I work.
Amazing. And I think it's very comforting to deal with somebody that, you know, has had those struggles and have kind of put in the work themselves and they just kind of get it. And you've mentioned the busy mom and that seems to be very much your niche. And when I started my journey, it was very much of I tried to find kind of like success stories of career-oriented busy moms that, you know, had the kids that had figured it out and balanced it out and had success. And it's really hard to find because, I mean, they're not necessarily out there promoting their successes on social media. So it's definitely great to have people like you out there supporting people like me. So again, like where I'm talking about is how I had a hard time kind of getting started throughout and you know, I've had some stop and goes throughout the way, but what do you believe gets in the way of people starting to work on themselves?
Honestly, I think it's the belief in themselves and the knowledge of what to do. The belief in themselves is that we as women, we try over and over and over and over and over to lose weight. And each time we fail. We have these ups and these downs, and we've trained ourselves to believe that it's not possible for us. Right? Like, you know, each time you try a new diet, the back of your head is like, this isn't going to work for me because it hasn't worked in the past. And this is our brain talking. This is our inner meanie talking. So it's changing that mentality of actually believing that it is going to work. And then having the steps in place to follow that will work for you and your hormones, physical makeup, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just taking the magazine and following what it says to do for 10 days and you're going to drop 20 pounds, because that's not doable. It's not downloading a PDF off the internet that was designed for these fitness models out there that are jumping around and that's all they do all day is fitness. You need to have a system that works for you, for your body, but you need to have the belief that it is possible for you. You finally have to make that shift in your brain to say, I can do this. I'm not going to play at it. I'm not just going to try. I can do it. And you need that cheering system, that cheerleading system behind you, like a coach, to help you through that, because we have trained our brains to believe that we can't.
Yeah, and that's interesting because the way I see it is your brain's trying to protect you from failure, because failure feels horrible.
Brain likes to keep you safe. It does not like you going outside the box.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So are there certain strategies that you take to get people to believe that it's possible,
I start off super small with just changing a few things here and there, knowing that at the end of the day, you can succeed that one thing. So that every night you go to sleep, I won my day. And the next day, I won that day. And each time if you implement these small little steps, you start to train your brain to believe that, one, yes, you can do it, and two, that it can trust your word. It's all about trusting yourself. So if you're a person who's like, I'm going to set my alarm and I'm going to get up early and I'm going to do a workout, and then the morning comes and you hit snooze and say, no, I'm not going to do it, you've trained your brain to not trust your word. And the more you do that, the more your brain believes that every time you say you're going to do something, you don't.
And I feel there's a lot of it too, like, because I want to be that early riser person. And for me, there was so much learning about myself. You know, I started that work, a few years ago, like intensively, of really looking at, myself as a whole person. You look at your weaknesses and you're like, oh, I want to get that better. But it usually is countered by a really strong strength. And then the more you know yourself, then the more you can put things into place. They say exercise better in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I do them late at night. But you know what? Like, setting myself up like for that morning workout was, for me, likely never going to happen.
Exactly.
So.
You have to find what works for you in your lifestyle. So yes, you need to move every day. Okay. Yeah. But if you're not a morning person, then why are you setting yourself up to fail by trying to work out in the mornings? Yeah. You can work out in the evenings if you have more energy then, or you have more time, or it's less stress, then that works for you. You still win your day. Yeah. You still got it done. Doesn't matter when. And that's all. That's what my flexible fitness system is about. It's like finding you have the proper rules, as I call them, the protocol, but it has to fit with what your life is like, or else it's not going to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also the notion, like, for me, it took a bit of time to learning who I was, not who I wanted to be, because it's like you're working against the current. Like, you may want to be somebody who's needs that, like, or is super structured, or will, but sometimes the way you do things have ways to kind of propel you.
Exactly. Yeah. You work with what you have, but then you can have a vision of what you would like to be, and then you take those small steps towards them. You don't expect to be that person right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. And so once people are actually like, they believe, okay, I'm going to give this a try, and I've been there, Mm-hmm. So what do you think keeps people from following through on things? So they commit, I've committed, mm-hmm. but then I've fallen off, or I've basically disappeared from like our interactions or so on. Not proud of it, but these things happen, and I think they happen a lot. So why do you think this happens, or keeps happening? Like people make that decision, that commitment to themselves, but then don't follow through.
Well, one is that they try too much too fast.
Yeah.
So it's not sustainable. They try something that's not going to fit properly in their lifestyle. Like, you get a meal plan and it's telling you have to eat this at this time, and then like chicken and broccoli for lunch, and then you got to make this for dinner and everything. And then you also have kids and a husband to have to cook for. So are you going to make 2 different meals every single day? Like, that's not sustainable. Are you going to eat, if you hate chicken, well, why are you planning a meal plan that has chicken in it? Like, come on. You have to live your life. You have to enjoy. Birthdays happen. Mm-hmm. Vacations happen. Holidays happen. Are you going to be the person that sits there and be like, no, I can't eat that, and and suffer through all of it? Because that just adds more stress to your life. You have to find something that works within your lifestyle already, making small shifts over time. It can't all be an all or nothing. And the whole idea of 100% good, can't falter, have to be perfect, that has to be wiped from your brain, because nothing is perfect. There is nothing that's perfect. No person is perfect. No meal plan is perfect. No workout is perfect. Nothing is perfect. Why would you expect that from yourself? And you cannot do everything to 100% all the time.
It's so hard, right? Because it's not a perfect formula. So our bodies are not like a perfect computer that will actually
We're
say,
not
do
all
this.
the same.
Yeah. But yeah, you have a result. It's like we're like, you know, people like me, like the logical brain saying, okay, tell me what I need to do or how I need to do it. And then if one of the steps, you know, you've didn't accomplish, you kind of automatically feel like like, you know, your days or, you know, your
You've
efforts.
just blown it.
It's blown
Yeah.
it. Exactly. And it's just discouraging. And then taking that energy to refocus and say, okay, how do I pivot on this? Sometimes it's a bit just overwhelming.
Yeah. And that's that whole start again Monday syndrome.
Yeah.
So it's that I'm going to try this, and then by Thursday the wheels have come off because it's been too restrictive, too structured, too much too fast.
Yeah.
And so then you blow it on the weekend and go, okay, I'll start again on Monday. And honestly, you're repeating the same program over and over. It may be a different meal plan, it may be a different program or whatever, but it's the same thing and you're expecting a different result. And it's never going to happen because you're not taking something that you can implement into your life. You're trying to change your life into something else.
Yeah, and the start over Monday over and over. And you know, I have a friend who keeps saying, okay, starting back at day one. And I try to tell her, you're not starting back at day one. You've been like, you know, making small changes too. Because that whole idea, I'm back at square one is also very discouraging.
It's defeating.
Yeah.
It's like, and every time you fall off track or whatever, your brain is thinking, oh, okay, see, you did it again. You did it again. Why should I trust that the next time's going to happen? It's like you have this little inner meanie inside you, and this everybody does. It's our brain. It's our brain that keeps us safe, and it says, see what happened? Why are you trying again? See, because it's not going to work. That's what your brain tells you.
And you mentioned social events, and to me, this was, and it's huge, and especially, you know, it's like summer or anything like that. And I feel like COVID actually helped me in some sense because when it was closed or anything like that, you just couldn't have them. So you're safe in your environment at home. You've got it all planned, or with work and so on. You've got your routines, and then going out in the world. And what I feel different this time, like a big difference this time from previous time that I tried, or that I've made some changes, is that when I do the go out to a social event right now, I don't feel what do you say, like punished from like, oh, I can't eat that cake or I can't do this because I'm on a weight loss. So, and there's been a shift too. It's like now I've figured out how to plan around it so that when I do have a social event or something, that it's on purpose. Like I've decided to alter my meal plans, but it was a conscious decision. And I felt that was really freeing too, because it's like, okay, because you can plan your day, you can plan your week, you can say, okay, well, maybe I won't see results on the scale as much this week, and it's okay because I made the choice to do it. But the thing is, these also needs to be some sacrifices with a weight loss program. So if you're somebody that's super social, then that needs to be looked at too, because it's hard to have structure.
For sure. Yeah. And I find I'm a big believer in winning your day, setting yourself up to win, but also living your life, right? So as I said, social occasions, holidays, vacations, they all happen. But if you go into them with a plan to win it, to still enjoy, to still be able to enjoy the meals and not stress, because the stress is what's going to kill you. If you're going to sit there eating the cake and just beating yourself up inside because you're taking a bite of cake, well, that's not living. That's not fun. And you're not doing your hormones any favor by increasing your stress levels. So it's like, why can't you just enjoy it? Sit down, enjoy it. But know that you have a plan to get right back on track the next day or the next meal, or you've set yourself up that day with getting a good workout in and eating clean for the rest of the day, that you can enjoy that one social outing. Doesn't mean that you're out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yes, there has to be some sacrifice. You have to have some moderation in it, but it doesn't mean you cannot enjoy your life as long as you go into it with your goal in mind. If you want to get somewhere, then you have to have a roadmap and a plan to get there, and don't stray from it.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too, is to remember that while you're doing lifelong lifestyle changes, the weight loss portion is still intentionally temporary. So the sacrifices you're making, if you can even call it that, there's an end date to this.
Yeah.
So and I feel like a lot of times when you're like, okay, I need to enjoy my life. Yes, absolutely. You can do this, like you're saying, in moderation, but also know that you need to put in the work right now for yourself in 6 months or even sometimes 3 months. Because I felt what I was surprised a lot is how quickly, once I actually put my mind to it, like how quickly you can see changes if you're consistent. Mm-hmm. So it's a hard balance. You want to enjoy, but yet.
Yeah, exactly. You have that goal in mind, so you're making those choices for that goal in mind. Once you hit that goal, well, you've also not only just lost the weight, but you've become a different person. Yeah. In the process. It's all about the process. So even if you've made that process, you've made those lifestyle changes, and you've finally hit your goal, then you're in maintenance. It doesn't mean the wheels fall off at that point and you go back to all your bad habits of binge eating and crazy every night out social and that kind of stuff either. It's you've become somebody else along that journey, so the fallback doesn't really happen if you've done it properly, if you've made it a process rather than a quick fix.
Yeah, that's interesting you're saying that, because that was the biggest surprise is how much I've changed. And like I expected the food to be challenging, and it is, but that kind of falls into place after a few weeks. You kind of figure things out. But the changes that happen within me, and how to then even go about life, I had to learn so much on that. And what do you do with clients when you're how do you provide any support to kind of navigate that piece too? Because to me it was so surprising, and I wish I had been working with you in hindsight, because it was my priorities were work and family and so on, which are still priorities, but my health took number one, and sometimes conflicting priorities and kind of understanding and navigating all that was really confusing.
Yeah. And the problem I find with a lot of weight loss programs out there, those things, that you get off of the YouTube or internet and things like that, they don't touch on a huge part of weight loss, which is mindset. You have to manage what's going on between your two ears if you want to have any kind of sustainable weight loss. Because our brain will get in the way, our habits get in the way, our inner meanie who tells us we can't gets in the way. So my program really, really focuses on the mindset piece. So we talk about goals. Where do you want to be? What, and not just scale, not just measurements. I'm talking, do you want to have energy at the end of your day? Or do you want to still be the person that sits on the couch at 6 watching Netflix for the rest of the night because you can't move because you're exhausted? Do you want to be the person who gets winded at the top of the staircase every single time you go up the stairs? Or do you want to be one of those moms who has so much energy, able to get down and up off the floor with your kids, go to the beach and enjoy playing with your kids in the water without, pulling this and wearing this and stressing about what you look like? Do you want to be the one that has no relationship with your husband whatsoever, no fun in the bedroom? Or do you want to be the one that goes on amazing adventures, just the two of you, have this rekindled friendship and romance and everything? Who do you want to be? Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with this whole number on the scale or measurements. It has to do with who do you want to become? Where do you want to be living the rest of your life? Yeah. Who do you want to be living the rest of your life? Who do you want to be showing up for your kids? Who do you want to be that your kids look to you and go, oh man, she's awesome? Yeah. Or my mom just sits on the couch. Yeah. That's it. And cries. Right? She cries. She cries. She locks herself in the bathroom and she cries. Yeah. Do you want to be that person, or do you want to be confident and just full of life for your kids? That's what we work on.
The energy piece, and I've touched on it before, but I don't know how to explain it, because people were saying if you lead a healthy lifestyle, if you exercise, you'll have more energy. And I'm like, energy, what's energy? But it's that will to get up and do stuff to actually enjoy it. And what you're talking about, get up. And like, I used to do things with my kids because I needed to, right? It felt like I needed to. But having the energy, like not just, it's not a chore, and enjoying it. And the kids do see it. And you're right. They do. They notice it and so on. And even though you have this inner battle of saying, okay, do I do my workout or spend time with the kids? And usually, there's room for both, but you're always like, oh, well, am I that mommy guilt constantly? But it's interesting. The energy part it's huge. And I wish I could actually describe how it feels to have.
Well, when you have no energy, you can't even imagine what it feels like to have energy.
Yeah.
But in order to feel what having energy feels like, you kind of have to know what no energy feels like. It's like, you can't get the good without the bad to understand what the good feels like. But yeah, if you're sitting there and you have no energy and you can barely get off the couch, there's no way you can even imagine what having energy feels like. It's really hard.
But it's just like that will to live. It's a weird to like, and that's dramatic, but it's like just that will to just get up and do stuff instead of just going on autopilot and just going about your day and surviving.
Yeah.
That's what energy really means.
But the
to me now.
step from not having any energy to having tons of it takes that one little step and it has to be small, because if you try and do too much, as I've said, it just exhausts you, it overwhelms you, and then you just slide back.
Well, you go back
so
to
you
what
just
you knew.
do those little steps, and each step gives you that little bit of boost to do it again, to do it again, to do it again, which then slowly increases that energy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what our bodies can do. It's all very.
And it does happen. It just may not happen as fast as people want it to, but it does happen.
Yeah, proof of that. So what are some of the key things that have contributed to your clients' successes? So the ones that you feel have really come a long way or journey, what do you attribute their success to?
I think there's two things. One is that I've broken it down into easy, implementable steps, and it's one step at a time. I am not throwing everything at you to that you have to do all of this to perfection. There is no perfect. There is no 100%. So I want you to start with one thing. Let's change that, see what your body does. Then we move on to the next thing and the next thing, so that one, you're not overwhelmed and you are constantly winning your day. That is the huge, huge portion of my program, and the support. Because when nobody's watching, it is the easiest thing to bail on yourself, because nobody sees it. It's easy to sit in a cupboard and eat Oreos with the door shut because nobody sees it. It's easy to hit that snooze button because nobody's seeing it. But if somebody is there checking on you, making sure that you are doing what you said you're going to do, holding yourself accountable, so that, and giving you the support and the positivity of, you know what, you've got this. You can do this. I believe in you. Then each time you win, you start to, as I said, retrain your brain to believe that you can. But yeah, you need that outside support initially because you're not getting it from the inside yet.
Yeah.
You need that. But honestly, it's the one step at a time, because we're all busy. We don't have hours to spend at the gym. We don't have hours to meal prep. We don't have hours to plan out the perfect meal plan. And nobody's going to be cooking different meals for you and your family. That's ridiculous. I don't do that. I plan out what I'm going to do, but then it coincides with what the rest of the family's doing. So there's no way I'm spending time doing that. Nobody has time for that. So it's stuff that you can do, but it's one step at a time. And that's what I find people really, and also get off these ridiculous ideas of low carb, no carb, cutting out all sugars and stuff like that, because that's all, again, not sustainable, right?
Yeah. And we'll get to all of those, everything that's out there in a minute. But and also because this question was really about successes, and I think one of the key thing to remember too is weight loss is not linear, and it's not, and it's, I guess we should expect some ups and downs, and I found it hard, even though and the more progress I had made, the easier the kind of the lows were, because then I could look back and say, okay, well, I've had, I've come this far and I've had some successes and so on. But what do you say when people say, okay, well, like, I've hit, or I've, it's not moving forward as much as I could, or I haven't had a great week, or so on. What do you kind of, because, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but there's a lot of motivation when it comes to progress. But when there's no progress, can there still be successes in there too?
Yes. So I always say that weight loss is like a toddler's drawing of a straight line. It's all over the place, or like a drunken sailor. It's never linear. It's never a straight line down. It goes up and it goes down, and it stays the same for a long time. Plateaus happen, and if there's one takeaway from this whole conversation, is that plateaus are normal. Plateaus happen to everyone, and that is your body just doing what it's supposed to do. Your body is an adaptable machine. You do something to it, it goes, oh, this is what we're doing? All right, sure. Okay, it takes some time to adjust, and then it's like, okay, got it. I'm on autopilot now. We're good. So that's when everything stalls. So you have to keep challenging. You have to keep switching things up, and you can do that in many, many different ways. But plateaus happen, and they're normal. Typically, there are three kinds. There are three reasons why. One is that you haven't really changed your nutrition in a while. Mm-hmm. So that can look like just changing up the timing of certain nutrients that you're taking in, or maybe shifting a workout to a different time of day so that you're eating different foods at different times of day. It can be maybe you've been sort of at a typical, let's say you're at 1,500 calories a day, and you've been like that for quite a while. Well, your body now is used to taking in that much food that it is saying, okay, well, I know I'm going to get this much, so I'm good. This is the amount of fuel I need. Now, what if you were to take it down a little bit? Then the body's like, oh, well, I need to tap into some of these fat stores to make up that. Mm-hmm. Or you've been low, maybe 1,200, which I don't think is healthy. Yeah. But if you've been there for a while and your weight loss stalls, then you're like, okay, the body is now used to only getting this much and being able to put out this much energy. What if I gave it a little bit more? What's it going to do with that? It's not going to store it. It's going to use it and turn it into fuel, and then you're going to have that boost of energy so that then you can maybe work out a little bit harder. So it's all about manipulating your food. You can't stay the same all the time because the body gets used to it, and then just it's on autopilot. So it doesn't tap into those fat stores anymore because it knows what it's getting. Or it could be workout related. It could be that you've been doing the same kind of workout for months. Yeah, you're working hard, but your body has gotten used to it. It's not challenged anymore. It's like, yeah, you might be breathing hard and lifting heavy, but the body's like, yeah, I got this. I'm good. You throw something else into the mix, the body's like, oh shit, what did she do? And it's like, okay, I need to either upregulate my metabolism, or it stimulates the hormones to kind of go, oh, what's she doing? And then they start functioning in a different manner. They start upregulating themselves. So again, you're always trying to stimulate the body. Like professional athletes, do you think they do the exact same thing all the time? No, they're constantly challenging themselves to get better and better and better. We're the same way, just at a lower level of intensity. And the third kind of thing that I've found in terms of plateaus is that we've become complacent in that what we've been doing has been working. Yep. And so some of those bad habits start to sneak in, not even realizing it. Oh, I've been doing so good in my workouts, I can skip today. It's okay. Oh, well, we had birthday. Oh, well, then we had another birthday. Hey, I'm all for cupcakes. But if you are still trying to get that sort of weight loss down, then these little things that start to sneak in, you got to take a look at. And sometimes it's hard to take that deep dive into ourselves, to really turn the mirror back on ourselves and have a good look. But you need to do that once in a while to see, what am I letting slide back in, and then make the adjustments from there. So those are the three main things that I look at first in terms of when my clients sort of hit a plateau. But I also tell them it's normal. It's very normal. But let's see how we can fix it.
Yeah.
Because there's always something you can do.
Well, it is comforting to know it's normal. And I've shared with you, that's where I'm at right now. I feel like I've hit a plateau. And it's hard to tell. It's like, is it really a plateau? Because that was always like, oh, this is eventually going to come. Like, it's that thing. And what it's been hard for me is wrapping my head around. This has been working. Now it's not. I've lost control over it. The fear of going back to the way they were, like, it's not rational, because obviously I'm not going to go from where I am to where I was in no time. But it's scary. It's very scary. And then my first reaction was either you avoid it, like I've done so many things in the past, or I tackle it really hard, which I've also done in the past, or like, and right now I'm kind of in limbo. But there's that like that constant fear that comes with the plateau of, what does this mean? And it got me to reflect, like, what are my goals? Because weight loss has been a goal. Is like, and then people ask me, like, okay, well, how much do you want to lose? I don't know really, because it's hard. There's so much. So in terms of like plateaus, it's like I said, it's comforting to know it's normal, that there's things to be done. But we're getting back to the mindset of things. So what do you like tell people that are like me in this situation to kind of like in that moment, like, what's the steps in that moment to kind of start building on the plan?
Well, for one, plateaus are not just weight related. You have to look at everything. And I'm talking, so yes, weight, fine. Measurements, fine. But that's the stuff that we can really see and, you know, sort of judge, right? And so, yeah, and in my definition of a plateau, it's like if things have not changed at all in about 2 weeks. Then I start to kind of have a look. But that doesn't mean that weight or measurements haven't changed. It also means, okay, let's look at your energy. Have you been giving it, like, have you been feeling still energized in your workouts? Or do you feel like the energy is sort of falling away? Have you been able to increase your weights during your workouts, or have they staying the same? Have you been able to increase the intensity, looking at your endurance, or has it been still the same? How's your sleep been? How are your cravings? How's your hunger? How's your stress? So you're looking at all these other aspects, not just the scale, not just measurements. Those are things you need to really dive deep into to see what's changed, because stress, that messes with your hormones. That can totally stall out your weight loss for sure. And markers for that is like cravings, hunger, things like that, that really show me as sort of like a nutrition coach, okay, what do we need to start changing because something's going on there? Digestion, all that kind of stuff. So plateaus typically, if absolutely nothing else has changed in a good 2 weeks, and I'm like, your sleep has been bang on and all that kind of stuff. And typically there's still been changes because stuff's happening in the inside, right? So you may not see physical changes, but there's stuff still going on in the inside. Your metabolism is upregulating. Your hormones are rebalancing. So that's stuff you're not going to see on a scale typically right away within 2 or 3 days. It's like things are still happening, and so you have to give your body a chance to adjust. There's like a bit of patience in there. Yeah. Your body really it reacts to what you're doing to it, but then it sort of it needs a bit of time to accommodate. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of challenge it again. But really, there's a patience involved. And the more you stress about it, the more you throw things off.
Yeah, I can relate to that for sure. Because for me, it was like, it was definitely, the scale wasn't moving as much. And then like, I think I've mentioned to you, so if I looked at, over a bigger time frame, a week, 2 weeks, and average it out, there was still movements, it's that panic of like, okay, I need to do something before it gets bad. and kind of taking without kind of saying, okay, I guess this is it. That's as far as I can go. It is a very, very mind-boggling kind of thing. Like I said, I knew it was gonna come, and I don't even know if the real definition of my situation is plateau yet, or if it's because I've seen. But
you're still having changes. It's
Yeah.
just that they may not just be as drastic as they were in the beginning because, well, it is harder to lose weight the closer you get to your target weight. It's just the body's going to fight you a little bit more. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So that's very normal. But again, it's all that mindset piece. It's that, you know what? It's the process. It's not the end result. It's the process that's going to get you there.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. Still very challenging to go through.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I guess that brings me to another topic that, you talked about setting goals and measuring the goals. The things like the more I got into my own journey, the more I saw the benefits of looking at things beyond the scale. Yes, the measurements are great, but there are things that I started to see, like we talked about energy quite a bit. But like for my fitness level, for example, like being able to jog, which I wasn't able before, like without being out of breath, like my endurance, my physical strength, and so on. What do you kind of encourage people to kind of keep an eye out for, like in terms of improvements, so that you can grab onto those little like victories?
I'm definitely big on, if we're doing any kind of weights, we're always tracking. So, and we're always either increasing reps or increasing weights every couple of workouts. So it may be the same workout you're doing, but you are now, like, if you've done it twice, you're up in the weight or you're up in the reps, because you're just constantly pushing your body to do more, to be more. So those are things. And if you track it, then you can see the progress. If you're not writing anything down, how in the world are you ever going to know where you've come from? So tracking your workouts and not just following along a video, but really writing it down, how many reps did I do, all this kind of stuff, is super key. Like, I'm a scientist, so I need my data. So if you're working with me, you're giving me data. I need that in order to say, hey, you know what? Last 2 months ago, you were only lifting this much. Look at where you are now. And then they're like, oh, yeah. Well, how would you know if you hadn't written it down?
Yeah.
Same with food. It's like, I've had some women come to me, and one woman comes to my mind. She lost quite a bit of weight, sort of shifting to keto, which, if you're really overweight and you're going a certain route, the keto is good because it really removes a lot of the gluten and, the wheats and all that kind of stuff, which is great. It's fairly high in fat, which I don't find very healthy, but initially it will kind of get the needle moving in the right direction. But she stalled. 2 years, nothing changed. 2 years. I'm like, you just come to me now? 2 years. So she tried running. She threw running into the mix. Still nothing. 2 years of staying the same after she had lost a lot of weight. And I was just like, okay. And so she finally reached out to me and she told me this. I was like, oh, okay, track your food. I want to see what you're eating. She was so low in calories. Plus, she's full on menopause. So weight loss is going to be that much harder. But she was so low in calories, and then she's adding more exercise into the mix. So it was the whole eat less, exercise more, which just stresses your body out. She was in full on, her body was like fight or flight constantly. Within working with me for about 3 months, she's lost another 15 pounds. She has muscles she's never had before. She's doing like strength training workouts. She's not running. I took out the running. No more running. She goes for leisure walks. She enjoys her walks. Reducing the stress on the body. Weight will come off. So it's all about balancing the hormones. She was being chased by a saber-toothed tiger every single day. That's what her body was doing. Once you take away that stress, once you take away the starvation that she was doing to her body, she's eating I want to say 1,500 calories now, where she was down at 11 when she first started. So I've increased. She's eating way more, exercising way less, but in a metabolically sound program, a program that's going to increase her muscle mass, which increases her metabolism, so that you can tap, and it doesn't stress out her hormones.
Yeah. And
Because they're already stressed out with menopause, and menopause is a normal physiological process. We all go through it. Well, all us women. It's normal, but everything gets exacerbated because of all the hormonal imbalances we have created from our everyday lifestyle. It's not menopause that's the problem. It's what we've done to ourselves as we lean into menopause that creates all the symptoms that are terrible. And those can be totally managed with lifestyle before you hop onto these drugs. So she's not on any hormone replacement drugs, and she's losing weight, and she's feeling fantastic.
And when I come back, because I obviously really, and you probably know why. So I reached out to you a few months, well, early on within my my weight loss journey, because when I've talked about this before, but like I had found out that I was gluten intolerant, so I did remove a lot of things from my diet. And one of the things is that instead of like switching the bread that I was eating for gluten-free bread, I mean, there are some very decent substitute, but doesn't taste the same, or like the pizza and so on. So I didn't continue to eat the foods that I did before that were heavy, especially the grains and so on. And then I did shift nutrition for that purpose, to remove the inflammation due to my gluten intolerance, but also did a lot of changes to do for the weight loss. So I hadn't, like, on purpose gone to the low calorie count that I was. And so when and you're talking about counting food, like it is work.
So work and annoying and
pleasant.
pain in the ass.
And the reason why I reached out to you is like something's off. Like I know, like, because I've been kind of going with my logic of what is healthy to eat and so on. I was seeing results, but then the energy, like I felt like a drop of energy at certain times of day and so on. And it's like, okay, well, you got to start tracking. And that's why I started tracking. But I was like, took out the MyFitnessPal again. But I remembered it is time consuming. But it is a very important part to know what you're eating. And to me, the biggest surprise was that I was in that 1,200. Like it was hard for me to hit the 1,200 because I wasn't hungry and I wasn't having cravings and stuff. And before, I could have never imagined being that low in calories because I was eating like higher calories. Not that high, probably. It was just the amount of calories I would consume at once and not eating very frequently in the day.
And the types, because some are a lot higher in calories than others.
Well,
right?
because I had a lot more breads and stuff. So the moral here is like that is a thing too. And I didn't think like,
to not
you could
eating
eat,
enough.
not eating enough. And at that point I was like, I had started working out and I was increasing it and I was starting to enjoy it, but that was a big eye opener. And just to explain the services that Laurie provided. So she was doing, you're calling nutrition and coaching, I think. So I was tracking everything, and then she would go into my account, like, because I could share my account. And then she would make notes about a few times a week, I guess, and giving feedback. And I remember, like, I wasn't frustrated with you, but being frustrated saying, like, okay, like, you need more. I'm like, I'm trying, but it shouldn't be this hard to, like, increase. But it is. It's a weird thing. And it wasn't because I was trying to be low calories and lose a lot of weight. It was just, like, the nature of the thing. So that, to me, I never thought I would experience. So it's important to
I find that when people do switch, kind of like go gluten-free or whatever, or really make the shift of, okay, I'm going to eat healthier. So they take out, the fast food, the overly processed food, all that kind of stuff. Automatically, the calories drop because you don't know how to supplement with the whole foods in order to keep that level bumped up. And again, whole foods and stuff like that are just not as calorie dense as McDonald's. Like, it's just... right? The fatty foods, the big carb foods, all that kind of stuff, which again, there's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff in moderation, but it's not something that you need to live on. But you need to track so that you know exactly what your levels are at, because if you're being more mindful of what you're choosing, automatically the calories go down because you're not reaching for the donuts.
Yeah. And there are things like donuts that most people know that they're high in calories and sugars. But there's just, and there's certain things that you just don't realize. And I'm not one to say like this fruit, like don't eat a banana because it's high. And banana serves its purpose. Like I think
bananas are fantastic.
Yeah,
they're not evil. They're not
evil. Especially with like when you combine them with exercises and stuff. And I've learned that if you eat them when you've had more sodium than you used to, it actually helps your body get rid of some of that. So, but the thing is that certain fruits, like a banana versus raspberries, is very different.
Very different.
And so on. So tracking the food, and it's also, I feel it's also an accountability piece, or actually it's one of the first steps that you can do to actually be like honest with yourself about what it is that you eat. And if you like, in a few years ago, like I've tried and I'm like, okay, my mind wanted me to cheat on this thing. I'm like, well, the person you're sharing it with, like, that's not the reason, like, why.
Well, that's
who
it.
You're
Even if you're tracking for yourself and you're cheating, well, then you're just cheating yourself.
Exactly.
And if you have somebody that you're sending it to, but you're not tracking it, well, then why are you even doing it in the first place? They can't help you if they don't know, right? So it keeps you honest. It keeps you, and again, the whole art of tracking, you have to write it down. So you're gonna think twice about throwing that little Oreo into your mouth as you walk by, because then you have to stop and put it in.
Yep.
So even the art of tracking makes you more mindful of what you're putting in your body.
Yeah, and one recommendation on tracking is do it right away as you eat, because then, like, if you wait even like
you won't
at the end of the day, either you won't remember, and it also doesn't give you the opportunity to balance your day.
Exactly.
So and for the first few months, it was like, because I've done intermittent fasting, like the 16/8 for the majority of basically the whole time, and I found like if I didn't eat enough before my, let's say my fasting was starting at, my fast started at 7, for example, by 10 o'clock, like my stomach would be growling and stuff. I knew I'd messed up during the day. So I knew I didn't eat enough proteins or so on. So to me, my goal has always been like, don't let yourself go hungry.
Yeah.
Because then I feel, I don't know that much about hormones, but I know they're
not happy.
And
they're not happy when you're hungry.
Yeah. See, so that's been my goal. So then if you track as you go, because there's so many times I was like, oh God, I have one meal left and I need to eat at least like 800 calories or like,
and then that's not doable either.
It's like, and still wanting to do it healthy, right? Not every calories are equal.
You can eat a slice of pizza and that'll hit you about 800 calories. But you're gonna feel gross after. So I don't know.
It's not gonna help with the goals, and that's the thing too. Like, and we'll get into nutrition because we've already started. So there's just so much out there, so much information, so many weight loss methods, plans. You've talked about keto. There's the Weight Watchers. There's everything around. There's just so much, and a lot of them contradict each other. There is a lot of information. Again, we talked about the banana being good or bad, or food in general. So there's like so much to digest in terms of information. How does a person go through that and figure out what's right for them and what method or what process? Because I think part of it is picking, but you want to be consistent with it. So how does a person who doesn't have that much time to spend on this chooses what they're going to do in terms of nutrition?
My main thing for that is you have to find something that you can do easily in your life. So if you've got, a family of 5 and you're trying to cook for everybody and they're little kids who are fussy and stuff like that, adding, you going onto a specific diet, let's say it's even keto or low carb or whatever, that's not going to be sustainable because you're going to be around the foods that your kids love because you can't make them eat what you're eating. So you're making different meals. It's like, it just doesn't work. We all know how to eat healthy. We really do. Yeah. It's not rocket science. Eat whole foods. Eat as close to the most natural products. Take out all those prepackaged, processed foods. Drink your water. That kind of, like, we all know how to be healthy. It's how to get your brain on board, because emotions play into it hugely. So when you're looking for something, find something that works the best in your life. That's not going to be a struggle. Go for as healthy as you can in terms of your meals. So I start everybody on, okay, we're taking one meal. For this week, we're looking at only one meal. Let's make it a little bit better. What are you doing now? Let's make it a little bit better. So breakfast. I always start with breakfast because that is the key meal of your day. That sets you up to either win or fail your day.
I feel like it's also the one that people are, well, I anyways, feel okay with eating similar, like, repetitive.
You can make it and forget it and have it all week kind of a thing. So let's take a person who's driving into work every day, busy, kind of like drives through Starbucks, gets like a frappa-lappa crazy sugar-filled thing and a scone. Okay, so, if that's what you do, let's take that, let's look at it. How can we make it that much healthier for this week? So let's go. Okay, do an Americano with a splash of cream and stevia instead of the sugar. Try that. And then go for the yogurt cup instead of the scone. And just do that for the week. See how your energy changes for the rest of your day. See how the decisions you make for the rest of the day are changed by that one thing. Because less sugar spike, which means less up and then drop in terms of energy, which then makes you crave more of the sugar, which makes you crave more of the energy, which makes you crave more of the carbs, which then leads you to make a bad decision later again. So you can either go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, or you can have a bit of protein and a little bit of fat and keep you a lot more stable throughout the day, making better decisions on the next meal. So I change everybody into change your breakfast. Just work on that for a couple of weeks. And then once you've made that change, make that one a little bit better. So then we go from buying the yogurt and just make your coffee at home, make a crustless quiche on Sunday, cut it into 6. There's your 6 breakfasts for the week. Done.
Yeah.
There's no more thinking. Yeah. Heat it up in the microwave. Simple. Done. Eggs, you can throw spinach, peppers into that. Bacon bits if you want. There you go. And then, again, normalizing those hormone levels, reducing those insulin spikes so that you're not hungry 20 minutes later, craving that energy boost again.
Yeah, I think it's important to simplify it for sure.
You need to make it simple. You need to take it in steps and take what you're doing and just make it one more step better. And then again, one more step better. It does not have to be a complete overhaul of your life because that is not going to get you where you want to go because the wheels will come off. They always do. Yeah. But if you can change one thing and work on it for a week, the other thing is up your water. Everybody needs to drink more water. Everybody needs to drink more water. That's like a given. But
I love that you said, because I've said it too in other episode, is that that's how I started. We know more than we think. Like, and for me, like, because there's so much information that I read and I listened and so on, and trying to learn about it. But it's like, okay, now it's time to. Well, we're not seeing that everybody's drinking more water right now. It's the cue.
It's the cue. Drink your water.
So the idea of trying to look at all that information to get the perfect formula, but like you're right, I already knew.
You already know what you need to do. It's then allowing your overriding your brain, really, because a lot of the food choices we make are emotion based.
Yeah.
We seek comfort.
Yeah.
We're busy. Oh, I deserve this. I did a workout. I deserve a treat. No.
Yeah, and on that though, they get the comfort piece that if we stop and think about it. So what is it about the comfort food that makes us gravitate? It's the feeling that you have in the moment that you eat it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, okay, once you have the positive feelings that of eating healthy, when you know how that feels, that is stronger than the immediate.
Yeah.
You know,
That instant gratification,
Yeah.
biting into that donut, because 10 minutes later, one, you're going to have that negative self-talk of I shouldn't have had that, now I've fallen off track, da 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 da, and also you're going to have that sugar spike and then drop, so
That's
then
not
you're
what your
going to
body
be
needs, yeah.
having no energy. So yeah, okay, instant gratification, we're a world of that, so we all want that. But once you know what it feels like to make a better choice, a different choice, and you do that on the regular, then you rethink having that. Yeah, you might want that donut, but give yourself 10 minutes. Go for a little walk, drink some water. You're not going to want that as much as you did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. And it goes to planning, right?
Yep.
Like
It's all about being prepared.
Yeah, being prepared. And some of your posts and stuff, you had made some really good suggestion on how to cleanse the fridge and how to do meal preps on Sundays. I've also shared that for me, like meal prepping for a week just doesn't, like, I mean, I set out with my good intention, but it goes back to knowing yourself. What has worked for me is always being prepared with the right, like having my favorite fruits and vegetables and proteins in the fridge ready to go.
Yeah.
So that I could make the right decisions when the time came, and not letting myself be hungry, because that's when I make the poor decisions and need to make it stop. and those foods. So definitely the planning has a lot to do with it, because that busy person taking something at drive-through, the scones or whatever, often the healthy options are not necessarily always there. Yeah, they had the yogurt possibly. Sometimes, I don't know if you ever noticed, but like Tim Hortons or whatever, like that's like it's hit and miss if they have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's being prepared. Yeah.
you can't rely on
No.
healthy options to be everywhere you go.
Yeah.
That's what I like, having a plan and going on. But it's been a challenge for me, because I never, like, if I packed to lunch in the past, I got to like lunchtime, I'm like, I don't want to eat that, like, or leftovers or so on. So what I felt was working is having options, but everything is kind of like quick and ready to go.
Yeah. And that's my goal in terms of meal prep. It doesn't need to be full on meals created, like
Monday you eat this and Tuesday.
yeah, no, I just mean like, okay, there's always 12 hard-boiled eggs ready to go that I can just grab and go. I always have mini cucumbers, grab and go. I always have cut up peppers. I always have some kind of fruit that I can grab and go. I always have cooked chicken, just cooked in the fridge, so that if I want to put it on a salad, I have that option. If I want to put it with some broccoli and a side of rice with sauce on it, then I have it ready to go. It's not like I'm starting from scratch, having to cook 30 minutes to just eat chicken. It's already ready to go. And then I'm always keeping an eye on the fridge. What am I running low on? Okay, well, now when I'm making dinner for us, then I'll throw that on at the same time, because then I know I won't be running out midweek. So I have become that person who always has stuff in the fridge ready to go. I was never like that. Now I've just become that person from this whole process. And it just makes decision making that much easier.
Yeah.
It takes the stress out of eating.
Yeah.
Because you just know that there's always something to grab.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, I keep saying, like, eating is so annoying, like it keeps happening. You need to do it all the time.
You do. You always have to eat.
Like, I kind of
And sometimes if you're working out, you got to eat more.
Yeah. It's cumbersome, especially like I don't love to cook at all, so I kind of just put things together. That's one of my goals. I want to learn to love to cook. I learned to love to work out, so I'm sure it's possible. It's doable. So just in terms of our history, like kind of I've gone to you. So like I had mentioned, like in 2014, so it was personal training, and then life schedules with work and so on got in the way. So we did for a while. And then I was thinking back, and I think it's 2017 that we started working out again together. And I reached out to you several occasions about the nutrition and kind of like, and you're probably one of the only few people that actually like poured my heart out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm mortified. I actually stepped on the scale. And at one point it was a 250, and but I felt comfortable going to you. And even this time, I have to admit, I was embarrassed to go back to you, having kind of had so many like stop and goes and false starts or so on. But I reached out because I needed help with my food. And I think I had confidence that I was sticking it out. I feel like, oh my gosh, and I think, oh, here you go again. So what do you say to people like me that either worked with professionals or in the past that are hesitant to reach out to professionals out of like shame or fear of judgment?
Well, one, I'm nice. I'm not scary.
Yes, you are.
And I've been there. The thing is that I've been there. I've had weight to lose post babies. I've struggled with figuring out what works, what doesn't. Not much help in terms of the medical profession, research out there. So I know what it feels like to not be comfortable in your clothes. I know what it feels like to be embarrassed to reach out to a coach. I've had coaches. I've hired coaches. I did 2-figure competitions. I needed coaches to get me to that point. So I've done it, but I know it's that initial call that is so hard to do. But I've done that. So I know what you're feeling when you're picking up that phone. And I am not a 20-year-old Instagram model who lives and breathes fitness and perfect camera angles and, filters and everything like that. I'm 48. I got 2 kids. My husband travels a lot for work. I'm busy. I know what a crazy to-do list looks like. I know what it feels like to have not enough hours in the day. So I get it. I've lived it. I get it. And I'm on the other side of it, and I can help you. And if I could have a magic wand and wave it to all these women to show them what is possible, to make them live a day in the life of what they could be, oh my God, I would do it in a heartbeat, because I know it's possible for them, because I'm living it. Mm-hmm. And so if I could just like reach through the phone and be like, I believe in you, you can do this, then you make that call. It's those small steps that lead to big results. But you have to get over the idea of comfort. You have to get uncomfortable a little bit in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And that's when you can make big change. You have to get out of that mindset of, I have to be comfortable all the time. You're going to have to get uncomfortable.
Yeah. I hear you on that. But it is also, like, I've found that a lot of people struggle with commitments. So to me, I'm the opposite of commitment. I will, commitment phobic. Like, I will overcommit and then be like, okay, you bit too much. You went a bit more than you could chew. So I'm assuming people often reach out, like, not too late, because it's never too late, but they wait too long. So what is the right time, or what do you say to people to, like, okay, one, it's okay to seek for help, and 2, like, when's the right time?
Well, it's never too late. Again, and some people have to hit that pain point before stepping into the next phase. Some people have to hit that rock bottom of, the pain that I'm in now is greater than the pain of change. Mm-hmm. And you can't take anybody there. They have to be there themselves. And it's sad, and I wish I could take that away. I wish I could be like, no, stop where you are and let's get you going on the other track. But some people just need to hit that. The pain that they're in right now is greater than the idea of the discomfort that they're going to be in to change. So unfortunately, I can't do anything until they hit that point. Mm-hmm. But know that you can do it. There is a way. And you can be supported throughout. You can. You just have to.
You don't need to do it alone.
No, you don't. And you can, the discomfort of starting this journey is way less than what you think it's going to be in your head.
Or what you've experienced, really. Because
you're living with constant pain, emotional, physical, all that kind of stuff. So the idea of change is scary. Yeah. We don't like to go outside the box, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Good. That's a good segue in the next one, in bringing it back to me and my situation. So to some extent, you've witnessed my struggles with weight loss or weight management over the last 8 years or so. I've come a long way, I believe. So why do you think I've finally been able to be successful?
I believe, one, that the pain that you were in, as I said before, finally outweighed the pain of change. That you finally were like, I am done feeling this way. But I also think that it was the mind shift going from, oh, it's a weight loss thing to it's a health thing. Yeah. I need to live. Yep. I need to live, and I need to live my life in a vibrant way rather than struggling every single day. And that mind shift was the catalyst for you sticking to it. Because if you're just focusing on the weight, every time you step on the scale, you're either going to have a good day or a bad day. And you can't live your life like that. You're either going to, woohoo, yay, I'm going to win my day, or, oh, really? Nothing or more? And then you're like, well, I'm just going to eat this donut now.
Why bother?
Why bother, right? So if you're constantly focusing on that, you're never going to have the commitment. But if you commit to, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be alive for my kids when they're older, I'm going to be able to enjoy adventures with them and not, okay, I'll do this, but I'm not really feeling it because you're exhausted. It's a whole mindset shift of health versus weight loss. And that is key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that was a big key with my situation. And part of doing this podcast and sharing, well, a big part of it is trying to help people know, well, one, gain hope that it's feasible. And the other thing is I've had to hit that threshold of I am sick, I am obese, I'm sick, I've got chronic migraines, this is not how I want to live, and kind of be shaken up. And it's interesting to hear you saying some people just need that. And it's a little like, it's comforting in some sense, saying maybe I just needed to get that way. I hope that not everybody listening to
I wish if I could stop them halfway there, I would.
I wish, I hope it's not the case. And for me, thankfully my health issues hadn't gone to a point where I couldn't work on it and get better pretty quickly. But some people, it requires that, and it's really unfortunate. And it's that whole notion of you don't know how bad you're feeling until you feel better. And you had said something when we exchanged messages, like, I just wish I could give like a glance or a day to my clients of how it could feel. And I'm 38 and I feel like I'm in my early 20s again. Like, I've never thought that this was feasible, possible. Like, and it's not like the weight loss is more of an outcome of the healthy lifestyle. And I wish people would see that as more of it's byproduct.
A side effect. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a side effect to living a healthy life.
Yeah. But it, like, to having felt the way I did and then quickly, like, it doesn't, like, yes, the weight loss takes a while, but the changes of eating healthy and starting to move your body, so fueling your body, moving it, it was pretty significant quickly. And of course, like, taking out gluten from my diet, that was pretty dramatic. Like, oh, I felt like that. Like, it was just like mind-boggling. Like,
yeah, you have to look at it as each time you had it, you were causing an allergic reaction in your whole body.
Yeah.
So it's like you were getting a constant bee sting for people who are allergic to bee stings every single time you ate, right? Yeah. Like, your body is going to react to that. So it's a constant state of stress.
Yeah. And weight loss with the inflammation is just not a good combo.
No.
and like the way the system has to work to be able to eliminate those foods that they're not, they're intolerant, like it's intolerant to, it's far greater.
Yeah.
So that's a big takeaway. Like if you have any kind of discomfort in terms of like digesting like anything, whether it's bloating or just indigestion in general, or I had heartburns and acid reflux and so on, like so much that I actually bought one of these beds that like are mechanical, so I could like sleep on an angle. I don't need it anymore. The bed's comfortable. It's cool. You know, I'll be good in my old age. But it was that to that point because I had to keep getting up, and I was making my neck sore because I had to prop myself up with pillows. So any of those, like, take it as a clue and just looking into like eliminating some of the things, at least temporary, to test it out. Yeah. Because wow, like yes, it is super inconvenient to be gluten intolerant. There's gluten in so much stuff.
Oh, so much.
But the alternative, like I mean, I get asked all the time if it's hard or how I do it, but I'm like the alternative is just so feels so much worse.
And it kind of forces you to eat a lot more of the natural forms of food. Yeah. Right? You have to stay away from the prepackaged processed stuff because it is in everything, right? take out the part. So it does clean up the nutrition side of things, but the benefit is you feel so much better.
Yeah, and I keep saying like finding out I was gluten intolerant was a blessing in disguise because I had to think about everything I was eating and because I had to shift a lot. So it wasn't just about the weight loss as well. But anyways, I just wish I had known. Like I just like it's so logical now. Like once I knew it could be a thing, but anyways. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem. Our healthcare, we run into troubles because of the way the system is set up. The doctors don't have time to dive into an actual nutrition questionnaire to really dive deep into what people are feeling. And a lot of people have all these symptoms, but think that that's normal. Yeah. That everybody has them. And it's not true, but how would you know? Yeah. You don't know that it's not normal because you're never asked these questions. How many times do you go to the doctors and they're like, do you have gas? Do you have acid reflux? Do you have bellyache? Yeah. Do you feel like you're 3 months pregnant after you eat certain foods? Like they don't ask those kinds of questions. Those are questions that if you go to a nutritionist, they'll start to ask. But you don't know if you don't know.
Exactly.
Right? So
and it was pretty bad, like for the gluten, just to give a bit of context. When 4 weeks into removing it from my diet, I lost 5 inches around my waist. And just like for point of reference, I Googled like typically an inch, they say you lose about an inch per 8 pounds that you lose. I didn't lose like 40 pounds in that amount of time.
It was
inflammation, which is like mind boggling. Like how do you get so swollen? Like what was going on with my organs in there?
Everything was just swollen.
Yeah. And I had just come to terms with, I am somebody who has, a delicate head and a sensitive digestive system, like my stomach and my head are just fragile. This is who I am.
They're like Fabergé eggs.
It's like, this is just, the way I am. But it wasn't. Like, there's a better way. But I just wish I had known. Yeah. Very interesting. All right. One more topic I wanted to get into, and you've touched on it, is parenting. So parenting during weight loss, I've been finding it a little bit tricky because I want to promote body positivity and that the physical appearance is, is just part of a person, but that you shouldn't judge a person and so on. And those values are very important to me, and they're very important to show my kids. I have an 11-year-old boy who's can be kind of self-conscious, and I have a daughter who's 9 and very much into looking cute and loves to wear clothes and so on, or like certain, cute clothes. Anyways. So I've been very mindful of how I approached the conversations about weight loss. You've talked about, balancing out nutrition with the family. Do you have any suggestion for parents that are, like, you know, one on the way I was, like, the frame I thought I was going towards in terms of, like, how do we talk about it? How do we promote healthy habits with our kids and maybe get them to participate? And also, like, managing it, because it's a lot of things. Like, it's busy.
Yes. Well, I've got 2 kids. So my daughter is 12 going on 21. And my son is 10. And we've always been an active family. They've always been into sports and things like that. And I'm a weight loss coach, so I deal with weight loss. And for me, I still, I'm challenged once in a while with, oh, yeah, the scale's gone up. Okay, what have I let slide, kind of a thing. So, but the way I talk about it at home is, like, my kids never see me step on the scale. I just do that when they're not home because I don't want my daughter to be like, oh, I should do this too. I'm like, no. The only time we really weighed them was when we had to figure out if they were good for their car seats or if they could give up the car seats, right? I'm like, the only other time they get weighed is when they go to the doctors. Like, I don't know. And measurements, I do them myself because I'm big on tracking everything, but they never see me do that. And I never talk about it. They don't know how much I weigh. My husband doesn't know how much I weigh. It's not talked about. But what is talked about is healthy choices. Mom, why do you work out every day? Well, because I just want to be active. I want to be able to run after you and play soccer with you and go swimming with you and do all this kind of stuff. And it makes me feel good. That's why I work out. It's not to lose weight. I work out because I feel better and I like to move my body. And you guys have your dance classes. I have this. So that's the way I talk about the workouts. Food. So we have, like, Taco Tuesdays. My kids love the tacos. And occasionally I'll have the taco with the wrap and all that kind of stuff. But generally, everybody's having tacos, but I have taco salad. So tons of lettuce, and then I put all the toppings on top. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, Mom and her taco salad. I'm like, I like it better. And I don't feel heavy after having the tortillas. And they're like, okay. It's not, oh, I'm on a diet.
And that's bad.
That's bad. Don't eat that. I'm like, no. Like the other night, I had the tortillas, but then 2 weeks ago, I had the salad because I was just like, yeah, no, I feel like this tonight. So we're all eating the same thing. I'm just taking out one thing and adding a bit more lettuce, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then, healthy snacks. There's always healthy snacks available. Oh, Mom, can I have a bag of chips? No, have an apple first. Do you have dance tonight? Yeah. Well, you need energy. The bag of chips are not going to give you the energy you need. You need the apple first. If you want a bag of chips after, then you can have a little bag of chips.
I like that. I
do that
too.
It's the food is fuel. And, like, they can have their candy. If they want candy, go, okay, fine, sure, whatever. But you can't just sit there all day eating that. Mm-hmm. And if you want that, then have this before, and then you can have that. And it's all about, what did you do today? Did you sit in front of the TV all day and do nothing? Then no, you're not going to have this. Let's have this instead because you're going to feel way better and give you more energy, and then you can go out and play.
Yeah, and I'm the same.
It's all about energy.
Yeah, same wavelength. I'm not about taking it all away because it's all bad, because then that could have some negative repercussions later and saying, oh, I've never had it in my household, so then I'm going to consume it on a grand scale. And I think there's a time and place for everything. But,
and when I was starting, yes, there were certain times where I was like, you just cannot bring these things into the house because they are my weakness and I will just eat them. So just don't. And the family was good with that, and even my husband, if he's out with the kids and he's stopping by, Pita Pit or wherever, McDonald's or whatever with them, he'll text, do you want this? I'm like, no, thanks. Or yeah, sure. But he's respectful in that he knows he'll ask before he brings anything home for me, kind of a thing. So it's getting the whole family on board, but not in the whole weight loss mentality of it, and just that we're a healthy family. You want to have energy to do this, then you need to do this. My daughter, she dances. So I'm like, and she's at that stage where things are changing and, and she's growing. She was teeny tiny for the longest time, and then all of a sudden she's like tall. So she's got some body awareness issues going on. So I'm really touchy about, like, have this, it'll give you some energy for your dance. You're dancing 3 hours tonight. You need to have some of this. Bring this kind of snack so that you have the energy to keep you up. Because if you have that, you're just going to feel yucky. And she's like, yeah, you're right. So it's teaching them the skills to make better decisions for themselves later on, rather than, no, this is not good. You want a donut? You can have a donut, but do you think you're going to have the energy to do what you want to do later? And then they think about it. I'm like, yeah, no. So
yeah, I love it. Thank you for that. All right. So before we wrap things up, you've talked about your coaching program. Is there anything else you want to let people know and let them know how to get in touch with you? Or?
Yeah, so my coaching program, it's a 12-week intensive coaching program. I'm pretty much on your shoulder. I'm like the little angel on your shoulder, not the devil, the angel. When it comes to decision-making around nutrition, workouts, it's got everything. So it's based on my 4F method. The first F is foundation of movement. You're moving every day, not for long, less than 30 minutes. But you've got workouts, you've got leisure walks, you've got everything aimed at reducing your stress and balancing your hormones and upregulating your metabolism. So everything is geared around that when it comes to exercise. Then you have the flexible food protocol. So you're not following a meal plan that is strict or restrictive. You can still enjoy a meal out. You can still enjoy a glass of wine if you want. But you're going to figure out how to do it to still stay on track towards your goals, to how to incorporate it into a busy life, but still be able to attain your goals. So you're still living your life, you're just making better choices. And you have like some rules to follow, but you're setting up your day. And then a focused mind. The third F is focused mind. We work a lot on mindset because, as I said, weight loss happens between your ears. Mm-hmm. You need to get that mind under control. Yeah. And then my fourth F is freedom. Freedom from start again Monday. Freedom from meal plans. Freedom from feeling like a failure all the time. Freedom to enjoy holidays, birthdays, vacations without stressing about falling off track, because you're going to have a sound plan in place and a strategy to get through them all with ease and grace. So that's what the program is all about.
I love it. And the word freedom has never spoken to me more than now. I feel like I've gained so much freedom. Yeah, it encompasses so much, just the freedom to just live, live so many more opportunities. Well, thank you so much, Laurie. You've also mentioned that you had like a free gift for the listeners.
So I'll give you the link, and it is a healthy snacks guide. So it gives you tons of options as to what you can pack for your week as healthy snacks. There's also my private Facebook page, which I'll also pass you the link. So if anybody wants to join in, I'm in there coaching. I'm in there posting daily. Yes, I just support this amazing community of busy ladies just along their journey. So
yeah, it's amazing. Definitely follow that. And you've been really busy on Instagram too. So we'll link all of the ways to get in touch. No, you're doing great. So thank you so much. It's been great. And also wanted to mention, if you have any questions for Laurie after this, or any comments or any subject, set it in, and then maybe I can convince her to come back if we have a lot of questions.
For sure. I'd love to.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to Vitality with Marilyne. Don't forget to join us on social, get involved in our communities, reach out if you have a powerful story to share, or send us a question you'd like answered. Take care for now, and don't forget to choose active, happy, and free.